What's up, you guys? It's your girl Bianca B, and welcome to the Bianca B Show, where we talk about business, finances, and friendships. So this video is a little bit different. It's going to be a mixture of the podcast and a mixture of YouTube and a mixture of a vlog. So I'm going to get started. I am turning 30. It has been an amazing journey. I'm so blessed, and just to be turning 30 is like a new chapter, a new decade. And I just want to thank everybody on my YouTube channel and who has been following me for so many years. A lot of my followers have been following me since I was 16 on the internet. You would think I would have more subscribers and more followers, but I am exactly where I'm supposed to be in life, and I cannot thank you guys so much for this journey, and it's been an amazing journey. So for my 30th birthday, I wanted to put out my third book. I am so proud of this body of work because I really bust my ass for these past couple of 10 years, and just following my dreams and just being in the film industry and working my ass off just to make a name for myself. And I love film. I love entertainment. Every time I've tried to shift away from it, it always brings me back. And I just can't thank you guys enough. So this third book is called Resting B-Face. It's basically a mock of RBF, which is Resting Bitch Face. And the reason why I titled it this was because producer told me that I have RBF, and during that time I didn't know what that was. And so as I dig deeper and just started writing this book, I knew I wanted the title to be Resting B-Face. And because I call myself Bianca B, that is why I decided to title it Resting B-Face. So this book is literally about being misunderstood and what is actually behind all of this. When you take out social media, when you take out entertainment, when you just sit with yourself and your trauma and your healing journey and all the things you've been through, who are you underneath all of this? Underneath makeup, underneath weave, underneath the filters, underneath the Instagram grid, who are you? And so I'm going to kind of talk about each chapter and what people can get from each chapter. And like I said, this book I'm not saying it because it's written by me. I'm saying it because it really helps me through this journey. And each chapter, I leave a boss B tip of the things that I learned and the advice that I want to share to people who do suffer from RBF or who feel misunderstood. We gonna have a tip in each chapter. So this book, the foreword is written by my mentor, Monica Marie Jones. Shout outs to Monica. She's literally known me since I was a kid, and she has mentored me throughout my life. So I felt like this book was missing something, and her foreword made this book 10 times better. So thank you, Monica Marie Jones, for being a part of this book. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for you for just helping me throughout these years. So chapter 1, do you have RBF? I kind of go into a breakdown of what RBF is and why I titled the book this title, and also why Harpo is not on the cover. I want to talk about the cover really quickly. The Resting B-Face cover. The reason why I decided to use the dog was because female dog is a bitch. So I thought it would be a dope prop. And honestly, the dog wasn't even supposed to be a part of the shoot. My best friend shot this. We shot this in Detroit. I wanted to shoot with my best friend because I love him. I love his work. Him and his wife, Jasmine, like, they really just made me feel comfortable. And I wanted this to be shot by somebody I felt comfortable with shooting with. And I wanted an actual backdrop so we can rotate photos and kind of come up with different ideas. So I'm going to insert some vlog clips of, me in Detroit flying there and some of the shoot. And I wanted it to be with my best friend because we have been on this journey together. Like, me and Chris, if you've been following me, like, me and Chris, that's my best friend. in the whole wide world, and I wanted this cover to be shot by him. So make sure y'all follow Breed Love Services. Him and his wife Jasmine have an amazing business with social media marketing, and I wanted this cover to be shot by him. And then who actually did the book cover is the founder of AFIT, Brandon Cooper. Shout out to Brandon. He dealt with my psychoness this past week because I really wanted everything to be perfect, but he made this cover in like 2 hours, and it just clicked. We went with the pink because it just was girly. It was a pop of color, and it's kind of like that, that glam girl who people judge all the time, even if you like are a pretty face or pretty privilege. That was kind of like the inspo, really glam. And regarding the dog, I was in Detroit. Harpo was not with me, but I know everybody keep asking where was Harpo. Harpo was on vacation, y'all, so he was not in the cover, but that's my best friend dog. So that's why we decided to have the dog, because a bitch. So yeah. And so I kind of, with chapter 1, I kind of go into details about why this book was created. The past 3 years, going through, many jobs, moving back and forth from LA to New York to follow my dream in entertainment, and being a booking producer, the things I learned. And so we kind of just dive into that and being in your 20s. Boss B tip in the first chapter: some people won't like you in life no matter how nice you are. This is when I knew that the entertainment industry was cutthroat and tough. Sometimes you can get hated on even when you are doing something positive. That's the crazy thing about being misunderstood. So I kind of go into my first internship at Oprah Winfrey's Network. I talk about me working at TMZ and the things that I learned, and working on a VH1 pilot. And I also talk about, looking back at that experience, I didn't master my emotions. And in business, you can't be emotional. So I start talking about that. I also talk about, do you pick your career or do you pick your relationship? And I talk about my long-term relationship that I was in, and the things that I did that was wrong in that relationship, and the things that I learned. So I reflect on that relationship because that was a very crucial relationship for me within my life. I kept it private. It was not on social media. And so, yeah, that first relationship really molded me into my trauma and the things I need to work on, such as my attitude. Chapter 2 is called What's with the Attitude? Your attitude can either make or break you in this business. And that was a common issue that people would talk about with me, and a flaw of mine was my attitude. And I talk about repeated cycles, taking accountability, and why I left a lot of jobs due to my attitude. And I talk about unique healing and my healing journey. And so that's chapter 2. Chapter 3 is probably one of my favorite chapters. It is Why Are You So Defensive? So the reason why I wanted to title this chapter 3, Why Are You So Defensive, is because that was a common thing that people would say to me. You're being defensive. You're being defensive. And I go into being a Black woman in business and the things that I learned within being a woman in business. And I go through a whole thing, okay? I talk about my experience of, the failed talk show curse, being on talk shows and working on talk shows, and they get canceled. What I learned throughout that experience. I talk about envy within the work environment, toxic work relationships. And this is probably my favorite chapter. Chapter 3 is I really dive into that. So in chapter 4, I talk about, why are you freaking doubting yourself? I mention imposter syndrome and stop getting in your own way, because sometimes you can be your worst enemy. This is also one of my favorite chapters because I didn't realize that I had imposter syndrome until later on in my 20s. And I think that is something that we in this social media world and in entertainment, we're so hard on ourselves, and how I became aware of imposter syndrome and going to therapy and how that has helped me. In this chapter, I also talk about holding yourself back, because sometimes we can be our worst critic and our worst enemy. So this chapter is really, really good. Chapter 5, I talk about, is social media really that important? And I go and dive into, what are you consuming on a day-to-day basis on social media and in media in general. I also talk about comparison and stop comparing yourself, and how I got to a point where I was, comparing myself to other media people out there, especially when I was doing red carpets in the beginning of my career, and how I just was like, I'm not comparing myself to nobody anymore. I also talk about oversharing online and what I learned about, posting my relationship online and why I choose not to do it. So I go into that. Chapter 6, why not you? So you can have everything you want if you just change your mindset, because why not you? So I talk about ugly energy. Sometimes you are the negative person. I talk about, my previous relationships and how I was sometimes, I played the victim, and how we need to stop playing the victim, and especially as women. So I kind of talk about that. In this chapter, I also talk about princess treatment and how that is an internal thing in your healing process and therapy. Chapter 7 is we all need healing. And in this chapter, I talk about why asking for help was really hard for me, and why, I became this hyper independent woman, and why that's not really a good thing. So I kind of go into that. And that is the last chapter. Resting Bee Face is now available on shopbiancab.com. It's biancab.com. It will all be there on Amazon. It's going to be everywhere. If you get a copy, please take a picture and share it with me. I'll repost it. And I just want to say thank you. I'm so excited to turn 30, because 20s was amazing, but there was some trials and tribulations. I can tell you that much. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy this book. Please comment below if you grabbed the book or not. Thank you guys. Follow me on Instagram at It's Bianca B. Subscribe to my channel. There's a lot more content and a lot more things that I'm ready for. And I hope you guys love this book. I put my all into it. A lot of tears. It took me 3 years to write this. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. And we may come out with a deluxe edition, because I still feel like there were things that were missing, but I'm so excited. Make sure you guys grab my other 2 books, Plot Plan and Slate, and the 20s Chronicles. I just want to say thank you guys so much for this journey, and all the people I met, all the people I worked for. I'm excited. On the road to 1 million. That's the goal. But it's your girl Bianca B. Bye, guys.